भिक्षु नयनमवतारं नयतु मे. Shining sun of the spiritual sky, His Holiness Yug Pradhan Acharya Sri Mahashamanji, I pay my great reverence to him. All the enlightening, encouraging, and eager advocates present here today in this august gathering with a meditation session, we are willing to ponder over an important issue of professional ethics. Importantly, ethics is a word which we have been listening to from the initial childhood. And many times we listen about honesty is the best policy and many good words. But are we able to actually follow? And why should we be? How does it help us? How does it heal us? And how does it make us grow and glow? Is an important issue to be discussed. Being advocates, you know how to take the case and make your arguments. What's important in life? Agreement or argument? Huh? Agreement. So all agree to it. But the power of argument is the one why you are seated in the chair. Isn't it? To make others in agreement, you need a powerful argument. Isn't it? So both have its own values. Acharya Mahapragya was once asked the value of questioning, the value of logic. He spoke the words of wisdom. It's good to logically debate, argue, and question when you're working and seeking the knowledge. In the field of knowledge, and especially in this profession, it's very much important, significant. But when we live in a family, in a society, it's all about relationships, then you should never argue. You should never question them. It's all about the belief, the trust, which builds a family, which brings each other close. It's not about mathematics and logic. It's about the connection and the emotion. Where there is emotion, there is no question. Because emotion works with the heart, and the advocacy or schooling, knowledge works on the rational part. Both are important. But both have to be distributed well. And here comes the concept of work-life balance. So what do you think is important? Work or life? We work for life. And life asks us to work again. But there needs to be a balance. We distribute these three words in a periodic pattern of our life. Work, life, balance. We all have 24 hours in a day. Is there any exception? All of us are the same. Maybe the best lawyers, judges, or the Chief Justice of India, or the clerks, all have the same timeline. How we can distribute our life, the periods of the day. So we have a formula of 987. 987 means 9 hours for work, 8 hours for life, and 7 hours for balance. So 987 formula. So 9 means 8 hours of work. Generally office work is of 8 hours, maybe with some exceptions. So 8 hours is the principal work time, and 1 hour for networking in the working team. 1 hour, 20 minutes for skill upgrade, how we can bring our efficiency into it. 20 minutes for bring your loyalty, the feeling of work is worship, so that we have a commitment, we have ethics into it. And 20 minutes for interpersonal connectivity, so that we are good with our colleagues, we have better understanding, better tuning, and we have the research of the mindsets also. So in that 1 hour, we can build the relationships, bring them into agreement, build the logics and arguments for further, that is skill development, and most importantly, the loyalty, the professional ethics. At least 20 minutes a day on the professional ethics so that we are never down in our own eyes. The setback is not one when someone sees us in a downgrade, but the worst downgrade is when we are low in our own eyes. That is low self esteem. जब हम जमीन से गिर जाते हैं, अपनी आंखों में गिर जाते हैं, दूसरों के वहाँ है उसे हम रीबिल्ड कर सकते हैं. इमेज कैन बी रीबिल्ड एट टाइम्स. तो जब हम अपनी नज़रों में गिर जाते हैं, वी आर लॉस्ट. सो इम्पॉर्टेंटली इन योर वर्किंग एज अ टीम, प्रोफेशनल एथिक्स इज ए मस्ट, जिससे हम अपनी ज़मीर में, अपनी आंखों में, अपनी दृष्टि में कभी हम डाउन ना हो. हमारा वो जो सेल्फ का अंदर का जो कंसाइंस है वो स्ट्रांग रहे, और तब हमें काम करने का एक दिल से मज़ा आता है, एक आनंद आता है. देन ऑटोमेटिकली वी डेवलप आवर स्किल्स, वी फील द वर्क इज वर्शिप, एंड वी कैन वर्क फॉर 8 long hours with full focus, with the best of us, with positivity and productivity, with activity and captivity over the subject. So important is that work. Second comes the 8 hours for life. What is life? Life has multiple dimensions. Life is not just for livelihood. Livelihood is just a fuel to run the car, but the car needs some directions to reach a destination. Our destination can never be to fuel the car. Fuel the car is a checkpoint. It helps us to move, but it can never be the destination. Importantly, we need to set our goals, define our purpose of life. And I've seen many people who are professionally so elite. They have their own stands, but they also feel low when they are lost in the run, chasing the money, chasing the needs, the comforts, all is set. Then there's no point of living actually. The driving force has been lost. And they spend the whole life in just maintenance of life, on the sustenance, on the survival skills. They complete their life. So life is just to live or to lead. Life is just to maintain and sustain or to attain out of it. It's a question for you all. What do you think? Attain. So importantly, what's your good name? Dipti ji. So importantly, to attain in our life, we need a purpose. Have you ever thought on the purpose of life? What's your purpose of life?
Not thought so far.
Not thought so far. But we have lived so far. But this is the point of today's discussion is how we can discover our peace, power, and especially the purpose. Because the purposeless life does not drive well. It drives to a point, then it loses itself. And many people take subjects, take options, take streams in their life for careers. And at a point they feel, oh, we are not enjoying it. And their driving force is lost. Because the purpose is not set. 2 days ago, we were at a building and many professionals came into contact. And many of them were non-genes. We met each other for the first time. In the morning, we met a doctor who is HOD in some department of Ambani Hospital at a lead position. And we had a meet of, let's say, 15 minutes something. In the evening, he brought his brother-in-law. He was at the age of 70, retired from high positions in some corporates. And he told that he has a question for you. What it is? Well, what is the purpose of life? I have attained all things on social parameters, physically, emotionally, financially, familially. I have grown and developed so well. I am complete. But I don't know what's the point of living and what is the purpose of life. Why to live and where to get. And we had a 15 minutes some interaction. but he had a spark now to live and lead that life in a proper direction. So, importantly, we should all make a point to be purposeful in life. Livelihood cannot be the purpose, it's just a maintenance thing. So, this is the point we need to ponder over. Many motivators answer what is the purpose of life? To be purposeful. So, I don't understand what the answer is. The purpose is to be purposeful. What empowers you? To be powerful. So, at times the questions are just rotated in that way, but there is no answers given. So, importantly, we should all have a purpose of upgrading ourselves and having this self discovery. As Maslow in his pyramid shares the five psychological needs from survival need, he builds the health, relationship, and all. And the ultimate pinnacle is the fifth one is self actualization, self realization. So, I think it is the self discovery, exploring our inner essence is the purpose of life, or shall be the purpose of life of knowing ourselves well. Maybe we read multiple cases, but we have not explored yet our own case, isn't it? And there is no end to this question. As we explore on, it has infinite depths to be revealed. It's more mystified than ever can be thought of, can be conceived of. As you go under and under, you know yourself much better. As you get dig deeper, you know the depth of your ignorance as well. And you see more has to be known about you. And at times, during some discussions, during some reading, there is a spark. And we discover some mystery of life. So we should have a process of meditation, of discussions with learned people, of reading, ultimately reading ourselves. And so in Jainism, a word given for reading is Swadhyay. Hope everybody has listened this word, Swadhyay. Can anybody share what's the meaning of Swadhyay? Can you?
Like to be swa means ourselves, and dhyaya means to keep an eye on ourselves.
Very good. What's your good name?
Jinal.
Jinal has given a wonderful answer. Big Om Arham. Om Arham is a way to greet someone. So we make a Om. Well, it's an equivalent of claps in Jainism in our tradition. So importantly, it's a wonderful answer. The Swa Adhyay. So reading ourselves. To reading a book, we need to read ourselves with triple R formula: relatable, relevant, and with reasoning. So when we have triple R into the deeper aspects of our life, we actually explore ourselves and know ourselves better. When we know ourselves better, we become better. When we become better, we see things better. When we see things better, our whole mindset, our perspective, our experience of life becomes better. So it's the life of from bitterness to betterness is the purpose of living to my knowledge. And we can develop on these lines for the self. Now we have seen 9, 8. 8 is for life. So life has multiple dimensions on these lines. We should have a calendar for our whole week, and every day we have 8 hours allotted for life, like at least 2 hours for food and stuff, 2 hours for travels, let's say, 1 hour for a family to have the mutual understanding, tuning, bonding, the non-digital hours, 1 hour maybe for digital updates of the world or whatever you are into, all that social relationships, 1 hour for society, and 1 hour for spirituality. And out of that 8 hours, 1 hour is to be prioritized, which is rarely prioritized, is spirituality. Because what we are, and we truly are, helps and can be discovered through spirituality, because our inner power is the spirit. So let's deepen it. Let's focus on our inner dimension, which helps us evolve in every aspect of life. And the third comes seven for the balance. Balance means sleep, meditation, affirmations, relaxation techniques, which helps us to detox, to declutter. But unfortunately, whole of this cycle have been reversed. Out of the 8 hours, in 7 hours of balance, out of that 15 hours, most of the time is soaked by something. Do you know what? Your lovely mobile.
कलेजे का टुकड़ा.
So importantly, mobile consumes most of our energy. Am I right or wrong? So we need a digital detox and a determination to terminate this illness. Point 2 is overthinking. Most of the time, our mental faculty is sucked with that. Is it or not? The third is emotional imbalance. We are stirred with emotions. Very easily we get hurt. Someone responds to us in a different way than expected, we get hurt. They did not respond, we get hurt. Yes or no? So these three dimensions, the digital one, the emotional one, and the third is the digital, the emotional, and overthinking, the mental one. These sucks. So how we can regulate them? On these lines, we need to train our mind with these professional skills. We should have some sessions in a week time or in a fortnightly about either digital detox or emotional upgrade, emotional balancing, or how to control, how to channel our mind, and how to make our mindset firm, focused, and to the point. So if we can work on these lines, we can really create the work-life balance. So the work-life balance in one liner is what? The formula is 987. Is it easy to remember? The whole of the discussion we had can be summed up in a one liner. The work-life balance through 987 formula. That's it. Oh, dot. Now we would love to have some interaction on these lines. How many of you could relate whatever we discussed now? Was it relatable? Was it any bouncers? So we will just love to have some interaction on these lines. You can raise your questions or share your creative inputs on these lines. We start with you. What's your good name?
Divya.
Divyansh. Yes. So whatever the takeaway of this session, you can share, or you can share your creative input
Feedback.
or a question.
So basically, I just want to ask, like, how do we control our mind? Like, sometimes I do overthink. I would just like to share my experience. Like, I do overthink a lot. So, how do I control that?
Wonderful. A wonderful question. How many of you would like to look to the answers to it? अरे वाह. So दिव्या ने सबके दिल की बात की. So overthinking में दो शब्द हैं, over और thinking. इसको हम खाली रिप्लेस कर दें thinking over. Overthinking को thinking over तक कैसे ले जाना है? तो importantly, we should specially create a mindset to channelize our mindset. आपने जैसे बोला how to control over things. So the point is we should not control overthinking. We should channelize the thinking. So the thought process, जैसे हम कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करेंगे, अगर ये बच्ची है इसको कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करेंगे तो ये ज़्यादा चिल्लाएगी, नाराज होगी, रोने लग जाएगी. राइट और रॉन्ग? एम आई रॉन्ग? पर दे फ्लो विद द फ्लो, बस डायरेक्शन देना. डायरेक्शन देने से वो उस दिशा में चला जाएगा. तो आपके मन में बहुत विचार आ रहे हैं, उसको डायरेक्शन देना, चैनलाइज करना. तो हाउ? जस्ट टेक अ डायरी एंड मेक नोट योर डेट एंड टाइम date, time, venue, maybe, or whatever it is. Maybe it's some brainstorming working in, maybe some past episode recurring thing which triggers that past episode, some mindset, something you feel offensive, or some uncertainties of future, whatever it is, whatever the issue is in the mind, just jot it down in a one liner कि आज इस टॉपिक पर मेरे दिमाग में चर्चा चल रही है कि मेरा ये फ्रेंड है, ये कैसा है, हाउ वाई फ्रेंड डील्स दिस वे, मे बी दिस इज द टॉपिक और एनी सच, यू जस्ट टाइटल इट एंड नाउ पेन डाउन द थॉट्स वॉट एवर इज कमिंग इन योर माइंड. भले वो इधर उधर कहीं भी जा रहे हैं, पर अपने आप से ये कहना कि मैं एक पॉइंट को दूसरी बार नहीं लिखूंगी. एक बार आ गया कि आगे पता नहीं क्या होगा, आपने एक बार लिख दिया, अब वापस दिमाग में आ रहा पता नहीं क्या होगा, ये तो लिख दिया भाई, नया बोलो. जस्ट आस्क योर माइंड टू बी क्रिएटिव इनफ. क्रिएटिविटी हेल्प्स अस, क्रिबिंगनेस डिस्ट्रॉयस अस. सिंपल. तो हमारे साथ क्या प्रॉब्लम हो रही है कि थिंकिंग इज नेवर अ प्रॉब्लम ऑफ अस. इट्स गुड दैट वी आर ऑल ग्रेट थिंकर्स. सोचने लग जाते सोचते कहीं पहुंच जाते हैं, पर उस सोच को अगर हम पेन डाउन कर दें, वी कैन बी द ग्रेट ऑथर्स. यू मे feel good to know many historic poets, significant, powerful poets have been, when their emotions were stirred, even the darkest episodes of their life, they were hurt emotionally, financially, physically or something which moved their minds. और उस समय उन्होंने उस दुख के साथ, उस वेदना के साथ जो कविताएं लिखी, आज वो एपिक बन गई है, जो वो हिस्टोरिक बन गई है, एंटीक बन गई है. And they have been very very famous and very touching ones, क्योंकि वो अंदर से आई, दिमाग से नहीं आई, दिल से आई. तो वो दिल से कब आता है? जब हम बहुत डीप इमोशन में होते हैं. तो अगर हमने वो पेन डाउन करने की स्टाइल सीख ली, तो हम न केवल अपने आप को वेंट डाउन खाली कर पाएंगे, पर साथ साथ में हम क्रिएटिव भी बन पाएंगे. और लिखते जाएं, और आपको लगता है प्राइवेसी इशू है, 1 घंटे बाद बाय बाय. और ये मत घबराइए कि अच्छी चीज़ें चली गई, अच्छी चीज़ें कभी जाने वाली नहीं है, वो फिर आएगी. अगर आपके काम की है, यू विल गेन बैक, नो मैटर. बट जस्ट पेन देम डाउन एंड यू विल फील फ्री एंड मच फोकस्ड. सो वी शुड फोकस फ्रॉम ओवर थिंकिंग टू डीपर थिंकिंग एंड क्लियर थिंकिंग, थॉरो थिंकिंग, पॉइंटेड थिंकिंग, पर्पसफुल थिंकिंग. ओ माय. So we come to the second question from here. Yes.
From me?
Meeta ji.
Yeah.
Yes. Meeta.
No, I don't have any question actually.
You can share your input. You are a wonderful lawyer.
It's a beautiful numbers which you've given us, and I'm sure I will take it ahead and make sure that I can focus on these numbers more effectively. This is definitely going to be ingrained in my mind.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So it's a very good point that she has not just listened, but she is inspired and she will also love to implement it. That's a wonderful thing. A wonderful.
Oh my.
Oh. So we move to, yes, what's your good name?
Shruti.
श्रुति जी. आपने सुना बहुत, श्रुति बहुत हो चुकी है, अब थोड़ा आगे बढ़ते हैं. Yes.
क्योंकि हमेशा हम उसको बहुत सुनते हैं.
अच्छा, उनको सुनते हैं क्या?
हाँ,
अच्छा.
इसमें जब श्रुति बोलती है कोई नहीं बोलता.
अरे वाह, पिन ड्रॉप साइलेंस मिलेगा. Good.
I would like to thank you all for giving us your valuable time and sharing such wise words with us. It's all going to be with us for a very long time, and I hope I myself will, and I hope everyone else also does, imbibe these values that you have inculcated in us today, and these go with us throughout our lives. Thank you so much for sharing your advice and knowledge with us.
Wonderful. इनके लिए भी है.
Oh my.
So on these lines now we continue to. What's your good name?
शार्दुल.
Shardul ji. Any queries or comments or
Feedback.
what feedbacks, whatever?
I have a query.
Yeah.
There are many people in this world
Mm.
who have to do something beyond their means, like who have to work extra harder, and they get stressed out, which is beyond their capacity. And they have to do certain things which they cannot avoid,
Inevitable.
which is inevitable, because they're in that particular situation and they have to either bypass that situation or they have to find a solution. But because they are not able to find a solution or neither they are able to bypass, so what is the solution for that?
Wonderful. Good question. To my understanding, it is all about how to work better than their capacity. So there are two things. One is, as you told, about circumventing the problem, how we can bypass that or resolve that. The third area is also there, which is enhancing our capacity. If we can bring our capacity to the larger volume, then that thing will be very small for him to work on. It's all about capacity that we need to focus on. We get stressed when we work above our capacities. But the second layer is we bring our capacities to such heights that all works are very meager for us, very small for us, and very easy to execute for us. No painter painted on the first stroke. They developed and evolved with their paintings in general. Maybe some may be by birth genius, but generally they develop their capacity with their work. On similar lines, if we train our mind for that, हमारे दिमाग को हम अगर मैसेज दे दें, दिस इज अ वेरी सिंपल टास्क, यू कैन डू इट एंड यू विल एग्जीक्यूट इट इन द वंडरफुल स्ट्रेंथ, you can. It needs just a practice. So we should not just practice during the work, but accept the work, like 20 minutes a day, on how I can enhance my efficiency. Like there is one is hard work, second is smart work. So we will just discuss on this on a storyline with all of you, and the story will also come to a point where there will be a question which will be answered by the wise intellectuals like you, and anyone can be asked about. So be focused with it, be with it. A person went to a wood cutting industry and asked that I need a job, I can cut woods nicely, artistically. So he went, and in a forest land he was given the job that okay, we will review your 3 days work and make a setup of your salary and fix your salaries. So he went. On the first day, he moved the axe so artistically, so energetically. In only 6 hours, he was able to cut the full tree. So even the boss was too much impressed with him. He told, but I want to observe for 3 days. And he appreciated. It's such a wonderful work. Even in 12 hours, it's difficult to cut a single tree. We have completed within 6 hours. The next day, out of motivation, he went 1 hour earlier and he worked 1 hour in extension. So he worked for 8 hours. How much trees would he have had cut? It was 3/4, not even the complete single tree. So 3/4 tree he was able to cut. He reported back, oh, I went 1 hour earlier and extended 1 hour. I worked for 8 hours, but I could cut only this much. Okay, the day 3 is there, and then we will fix your salaries. Okay. Now he was super excelled for that, super excited to work to the best of it, to give the desired results. So he went 1 more hour earlier and extended 1 more hour. So he worked for 10 long hours, completely exhausted with the work, full enforcement, full energy into it, and he could cut only half the tree. At the end, he reported to that, and he told that what happened. Oh, I worked 2 more extensive hours, and too much of, you can see my videos and this and that. Everything is recorded. I have worked so tirelessly. He told on the 4th day I will also come, and we will see and how we can work on it. I am willing to ask you why it happened. Can anyone answer?
Focus.
Focus. Yes.
He didn't sharpen his blade after cutting the first day.
What's your good name?
Ashwin.
Ashwin. He has given a wonderful answer. इनके लिए so he worked hard, harder and the hardest level. To work hard was there, but not what about the smart work? There was hard work, but not the smart work. So he was asked, how much time did you engage to sharpen your axle? To sharpening the axe is also very, very important. He reported that I came to know that how much I cut, I will be offered. But there was no payment for sharpening the axe. There is no such payment for that. In the company, in your company, maybe how many cases you deal, you are offered for that, the incentives maybe and whatever is. But is there any pay for sharpening the skills? I hope never. And no company has such systems in general. But importantly, it's not about the results, it's about the inputs which give the desired results. So importantly, there are some invisible factors which help us to grow. The visible initiatives and incentives are there, but there are some subtle ones, some latent ones, some hidden ones, which really help us. And so we discuss like 8 hours work, but 20 minutes for enhancing the skill. So on the similar lines about the capacity, capability, we should work on the proficiency of the thing. And actually, we all have the powers to work within the time frame. No work is big if we become bigger. Everything falls short. Not the time, but the workload falls short. Right? So it can help to an extent, but there are some things which maybe are inevitable, that's okay. But we can work on these lines. On the mental skills, on staying focused, how fast we can make our कि what's the problem and how to come out. आपने बोला ना कभी उसको avoid भी करना है, कभी solve भी करना है. But for all that, we need just a patience and perseverance to work on that. So we sum up our sessions today, and it was a wonderful talk to have a talk with you. And to the last lines, we would love to listen our most near one and dear one who has brought us all together, Advocate Raj Singh. So we would like a few words from him.
See, I was associated with Munishri since quite about now almost 8 years, and we know closely each other. So Munishri हमेशा बहुत एफर्ट्स डालते हैं. उनकी एक्सपी बराबर टाइम टू टाइम शार्पन करते हैं, एट द सेम टाइम कटिंग भी बराबर करते हैं. सो मुनिश्री का बैलेंस बहुत परफेक्ट है, एंड दैट रियली इंस्पायर्स अस. एंड दिन में 2 सेशन, 3 सेशन, 4 सेशन, आई एम अवेलेबल. यू कैन हैव एज मेनी सेशंस एज यू कैन. बहुत अच्छा एफर्ट्स मुनिश्री डालते हैं. सो हमारे में एक प्रैक्टिस है, कृतज्ञोष्मी हम आपके आभारी हैं. और एक बार कृतज्ञोष्मी
हम सब आपके आभारी हैं.
कृतज्ञोष्मी
हम सब आपके आभारी हैं.
One more point at the end, I would love to share that our Gurudev, Acharya Sri Mahashramanji, he is coming to Mumbai for a Chaturmas stay, a 9 months long stay, and Tirapant Acharya is coming to Mumbai for a Chaturmas after 69, nearly 69 years. So it's a historic event to happen, and it would be very lovely to listen to him, the words of wisdom by him, to be blessed, to be honored, and to be enlightened with him. So we should all take the efforts and the pains. There will it's rare to have the home delivery like this, but at least we can take the efforts and reach out and take the advantage, a special blessings from him and the enlightenment call. And importantly, on these lines, we have started a movement and we have named it Utthan. Utthan is an initiative of upgrading ourselves, and on that lines, in the past year, we had several events across in different Mumbai areas in diverse communities, not limited to Tirapan Samaj, Jain Samaj, and even other professionals like you. We had different programs at different levels across the year, and in this yatra, we have focused on the Sobo region, South Bombay region, and here we have come today. And in this region, the Raj Singhvi is the man who has professional connects wonderful across Mumbai. He is the TPF president, Tirapan Professional Forum, a forum of professionals in Tirapan, and we would love to have connects with different areas. We shared these words with him. In a very short notice, he was able to develop such a decorum of such wonderful thinkers here. And all the professionals today, I hope, have enjoyed this. Maybe we have taken more time. How many of you felt bored during the session? And how many of you had some significant takeaways and felt good of not missing this? Wonderful. So it was a wonderful meet, and it should not be restricted to the first one. I hope we will stay connected in different ways at different locations, not always the home delivery model or office delivery model, but wherever we are, we can share a contact through him to you all, and you can be connected with some of the handles of connection, and where you will be just at least updated about our nearabouts, and wherever, however it works, there can be some things. We have a few programs. On 7th we have at Navy, and 7th afternoon at Rahija Vivaria, and many more are in alignment. We would love to share with us, and we end with a Mangal part. Today's residence is in the residence of Raj Singhvi. Nearby. आप सब लोग यहाँ मुंबई में, मतलब यहीं साउथ बॉम्बे में रहते हैं?
नहीं
कितने लोग साउथ बॉम्बे में रहते हैं? 2, 3, 4, 5.
साउथ बॉम्बे में बहुत बड़ा है।
ऐसा बहुत बड़ा है क्या? दिल बड़ा। चत्तारी मंगलम वरंता मंगलम श्रद्धा मंगलम साहु मंगलम केवली पन्नत गम्मो मंगलम चत्तारी लोकोत्तमा रंता लोकोत्तमा श्रद्धा लोकोत्तमा साहु लोकोत्तमा केवली पन्नत गम्मो लोकोत्तमा चत्तारी शरणम पवज्जामि अरंती शरणम पवज्जामि सिद्धि शरणम पवज्जामि साहु शरणम पवज्जामि केवली पन्नतम धम्मम शरणम पवज्जामि विघ्नहरण मंगलकरण स्वामभीक्षुनो नाम गुणयोलक सुमिरन किया सरे अचिंत्या काम सरे अचिंत्या काम